Yeah, top of the day, wherever you are joining us from, all Nigeria Super Fans Forum. My name is Ashalelu Afemi. Of course, we appreciate you so much to our viewers, our fans around the world, and Ghana, Takoradi, in Kumasi, we're in Nigeria, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Kaduna, wherever. We appreciate you so much. And in Canada, United States of America, Australia, we appreciate you so much. Nigeria Super Fans Forum. We do not take your support lightly at all. James Agbere is here. So today we will be talking about a lot of wonderful things regarding African football on the show today. Unfortunately, Kyle Dogundari wouldn't be able to join us today, but you will know that it's going to be another awesome ride right here on the show. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Femi. Happy to be on today's edition.
Okay, so what are you looking forward to this weekend, James? A lot of club action on the continent. Of course, remember that the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup qualifying games will be going there right here in Nigeria. Of course, Eyimba International, and of course, we will be having Medema. We'll be hosting Medema this weekend. So, what are you looking forward to this weekend, James?
Yeah, another jollof war between Nigerian team and the Ghanaian teams, Medema and Remo. So hopefully we'll get one over Medema. So and also to other Nigerian club sides who will be playing on the continent. Hopefully I think last week's results were not that palatable. So hopefully this weekend we'll have something to cheer about.
Okay, I think it's one question I haven't asked Kayode. Which of the two countries has the best jollof? But unfortunately today that wouldn't happen. But next time, of course, I will be taking on that question. So, like we said, of course, we'll be having Remo Stars. They will be hosting Medema this weekend. Remember that Medema won the first leg last week, 1-0 in Ghana. And of course, we'll be having Eyimba International. They will be hosting Alali Benghazi right here in Nigeria. Eyimba also lost 4-3 in the first leg. So hopefully these two Nigerian be able to just seek their qualification. That is in the CAF Champions League, the qualifiers. And in the CAF Confederations Cup, we have a Bendel Insurance. They will have their hands full against Asoclef. Bendel Insurance won the first leg, 1-0 at the Samuel Ogbemodia Stadium last week. So we hope that they would be able, at least going far away, in Libya, they will be able to get something done. It's been a while. Insurance have been on the continent. Hopefully, this time they will be able to just see their qualification. Okay, James, let's talk about Nigeria now. Of course, we have this new sports minister. He visited the Abuja National Stadium and he talked about that it was like on a sports visit, so to say, because it wasn't scheduled. And some Nigerians are saying that, of course, Sunday Dare also did the same thing while he was Minister of Sports, and that facility has remained abandoned, so to say, has remained uncatered for. James, should we be looking forward to something different this time? I know you're not the sports minister, but what do you think about the development?
A very sad one. I mean, I think there was a time they came out to see. We got to know the huge amount of money that was pumped in to innovate the Abuja National Stadium. All of a sudden, it has gone back to
people to put it together for the playoff against Ghana, for the World Cup playoff against Ghana.
Yes, exactly. So I mean,
over $1 billion naira, we heard.
It is very sad that we still go back to the maintenance culture thing that we always harp about. It's all about what we do is we just want to show off that we can have this thing. But when you have this thing, what can you do to always put it in shape so that whenever there's a big event coming up, it will be ready for use. I mean, he is not the first minister that we come out and complain in his first visit. I mean, for how long are we going to continue, running things like this? That's a very massive structure. I've been there before, and Femi, I tell you, if your first visit, if you don't have a guide, you can get lost in that Abuja National Stadium. I mean, a massive structure. I mean, for a country to have such, and I mean, you should know that the maintenance there should be top notch. I mean, you can't have such structure and just allow it to be to always have issues. Look at the grass. I mean, look at the surroundings sometimes. And I saw. I mean, so I don't know the kind of what's next now, because the other time when they said they wanted to work on it, I mean, we also what it generated. Now the new minister has come out and said what he has said, and that's another episode now that will continue to, So it's just the kind of people we are. We are just terrible when it comes to maintenance. We are just so terrible. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that when you have the wrong people running affairs, these are the kind of things you continue to see. And this is not the last. It's not going to be the last time that we hear something like this. We just don't have the right people in place that have these things at heart. All they just want to do is to just go there and get whatever they want to get and leave. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. So if we continue to talk, it will just seem as if we are just sound like broken record. It's sad, honestly, Femi.
Okay, of course, the National Stadium in Lagos is still lying there uncompleted, despite the fact that the minister, former minister of sports, Sunday Diary, talked about the amount of money that would be expended on renovating that facility. The last time we heard about that facility was that this powerful floodlight came down after a heavy downpour right here in Lagos. Now, as it were, the only stadium that is capable of hosting any international competition is the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, the whole country, Nigeria. It is laughable, it is despicable, it is condemnable, and we just hope that government will, at least for once, begin to see sports like it is in other parts of the country. James, we cannot ignore the ongoing issue regarding the president of the Spanish Football Association. I'm talking about Rubiales. Remember what happened with the keys of death, so to say, with Amoso. James, we also saw a footage of the Spanish coach, after they got that goal against England in the final of the 2023 World Cup, whether knowingly or unknowingly, grouping or grabbing the breast of a female coach in his coaching crew. James, these issues have sparked a global debate about whether men should stay away from the women's game and allow the women to just do their thing, like we have in the men's game, where you can say 98 or 99% of people around men are men. James, should we get to that point? You remember we also have an issue regarding the Copper Queens of Zambia, where it was alleged that the coach grouped one of the female players during this the FIFA World Cup, this one that just concluded. James, should we get to that point? Or I don't know, but what is your opinion about this issue? Because it has really thrown up a lot of debate. And as a matter of fact, FIFA, they've opened an investigation regarding the issues of the Spanish Football Association, though we heard yesterday that he said to resign because there's a pressure in Spain that his apology is not tenable. What do you think about this, James?
Individuals are just, they decide to be, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. I don't want to sound harsh. I think that should be better words to use. You now use it to affect every other person. I mean, we have individuals like that. And so I don't think it should be enough to now say, okay, you don't want men in when it comes to women's football. I mean, you can't say because some people are just being erratic, just like what you said, and you now used to affect other people. I mean, it's I don't think it should be something that should be looked into. It's just people should be mindful of what they do. These are women. Anything that has to do with women, that gender, there's always a strong stand against anything that doesn't, go down well with them. It's always an outcry. Sometimes you begin to ask, what if it's the other way around? We really generate this kind of uproar. You understand? Anything that has to do with female, the women, when it comes to women, I mean, that it will always be news. It will always generate A lot of noise. Remember this Norwegian striker, I've forgotten her name, when she won the FIFA Player of the Year award. When the host now asks a kind of silly question, the guy got a backlash. So when it comes to women stuff, you have to be very, very careful. Very, very. They are very special creation. So you don't just mess around with them. So for me, that's just it.
Okay, but James, how do we encourage women, particularly in this part of the world, in Africa? We know that there's a lot of suppression where, some coaches will even threaten female footballers that if you speak out, you'll be thrown out of the team. We've had issues regarding payment that players are even threatened. They will be threatened of being thrown out of the team if they even demand for what is rightfully theirs. Now, when it comes to issue of sexual harassment, that we know that a lot must have happened right here on the continent. We have to admit it. Now, how do we begin to encourage female footballers to speak up? Now, thank God this happened in the glare of the whole world, where the whole world saw what happened between Rebellions and, of course, Hermoso. How do we encourage women, particularly female players, who are looking for, perhaps some of them just want to be the breadwinners of the family, some of them just want to rise from the things that have held them down in terms of difficulty? How do we encourage them to speak up?
I mean, sometimes it's good to always have this like union, that look out for the interest of sports women. So at least when you have this kind of backing, you're able to come out and that body will kind of defend you. Remember the American gymnast, what's her name now, and some of our colleagues. Remember what happened at the last?
The coach was jailed. Yeah.
Exactly. You saw that. I mean, the way they got support and bodies came out to back them, but I don't think we have such
in Nigeria, and in Africa.
In Africa, so sometimes when the person come out to complain, it's like a lone voice, and the what we come out of it. We've had cases where players like the Super Falcons. Remember what happened in the case of Desire Okpara-Nnoji when she tried to defend her teammates. She was almost kicked out of the team. So sometimes when you come out to say these things, it's as if you're just doing it on your own, no backing. Everybody's like trying to save their head. So until we have things like that, strong bodies that when players come out to complain, when they come out to, make a case, and they have this backing. I mean, a lot of them will come out. This thing have been happening. It's just that they don't have those support, the kind of support that we push them on to really come out. I mean, what was the essence of trying to, come out to expose some shady stuff? But at the end of the day, you now become a target. So that's why I understand why many of them don't like to come out to say all this, to expose what has been happening. So it's a good one. If you're going to you go a long way to help players. The Zambian case now, I won't be surprised if we don't hear anything about it again. It's possible that something like that happened, but you expect the FA to come out to make a statement. So until we have this kind of body, strong, effective unions, that back sports women. I mean, I'm telling you, Femi, you're going to hear a lot of, so that's it.
Okay. Of course, regarding the case of the Copper Queens, we are still hoping that the Zambian FA will maybe come up with a position like Jim said. But during the incident at the World Cup, FIFA said their own camera crew that was attached to the team during when the alleged incident occurred did not capture anything. And it seems that matter might just die. But we hope that Africa, we can just focus on doing the right thing and leave the things that do not matter behind. All right, James. Well, of course, we will be going to Congo today, where we talk about the ambition of the president of the Young Africans, who's looking at contesting for the president of that country. But let's come to Ghana now before we travel down. Now, for Chris Hughton, it is almost like the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is almost here in less than 2 weeks now. Of course, the Black Stars will be okay, in about 2 weeks now, so to say, the Black Stars will be taking on as the Central African Republic. So there's been good news for the Black Stars. But let's talk about 5 players who will be returning for that game. They were absent in the past matches for the Black Stars. Baba Rahman, of course, your friend, James' very good friend, Naki Williams, will be returning. And of course, we had Anto Semenyon, we have Baba Rahman, and of course, Elisha Owusu. These guys will be returning for that game, although we have a number of injuries that are also out. James, how would this give Chris Hughton more firepower regarding that game? Even knowing that the Central African Republic captain, Jeffrey Gondobia, would not be there now that he's injured. How do you think all of this will give Chris Hughton something to, some power, some arsenal to go into this game and just get the needed result?
Nothing suits the mind of coaches when you see your key players coming back from injury. I mean, it lessens the burden because, when your key players are out injured and you begin to, especially when a coach doesn't really have much trust in some other players, you know how that can affect a team. That's why when you hear news that, okay, this guy is already training, is back running, doing physical contact training again. I mean, it's something that they love to hear, So for me, it's a good one for them. These guys, experienced players, you only strengthen the team, and they give them more firepower. So because the Black Stars need everybody available for that match. Fine, you want to see, they are playing at home, playing against Central African Republic, but I don't think they will want to relax because we've seen shocks in the past. So we also was lost at home to what's the country now? I've forgotten the name. They lost Guinea-Bissau right there in Abuja National Stadium before they went away to win. So sometimes if you don't do the needful, you're going to get the biggest shock. So good one for them. I don't know. I think Kondogbia. That was going to be a big miss for Central African Republic. Experienced player, Atletico Madrid player who plays for Marseille. So I don't know how they're going to cope because you always want your best players around, and playing against one of the strongest teams in Africa, that's Central African Republic, are going to Ghana, one of the strongest teams. So they have their work cut out now. So, but the Black Stars should not expect an easy game. Hopefully these guys are coming back from injury, they will be fit enough. Sometimes when you've recovered from injury, it's another thing now whether you are match fit. But we see cases where players after recovering, but when they get into the groove of the game, they just can't because the body has not really adapted yet to
rhythm of competitive football.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully these guys they will be able to come back and add something to the Black Stars because you can't imagine that the Black Stars will not be at next year's AFCON. I don't even want to imagine it because even the coach too is going through a lot criticism here and there, and they just imagine now. God forbid that the team fail to qualify. It will give those who have been against him from the onset. We only give them more firepower. Like we said, it's not good enough. Blah blah blah. So hopefully these guys will come back and ginger the team so that they're able to get the job done.
Okay, of course, we hope that the Black Stars will be able to do the needful. Of course, we are keeping our fingers crossed as far as preparation for that game is concerned. Chris Hughton is yet, or the GFA is yet to open the camp. Hopefully, from next week, Monday or beyond, the Black Stars should be in camp and you're getting ready for that game. It's going to be a very, very, very keenly concerted game because CAR they need a win to qualify, while the Black Stars need a draw. Hopefully, we want to see the Black Stars at the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations. James, let's talk about the Bet Premier League because a lot of issues now, even for the GFA, regarding the upcoming presidential election, and now the Bet Premier League because Ashanti Gold, remember in 2020, 2021, they had a case with Inter Allies in Ghana, regarding allegation of match fixing, and both of them were relegated. Ashanti Gold were relegated to the second division, while Inter Allies were relegated to the third division. But of course, both of them went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and they were cleared. But now, Ashanti Gold, they've filed an injunction against the GFA in such a way that the Bet Power Premier League that is scheduled to start on September 15 will not kick off until their matter with the GFA is resolved. Now the GFA is angry that while Ashanti Gold were under ban, they were not supposed to indulge in, or some of their officials were not supposed to indulge in sporting activities, but they were. But now the club is saying we've been cleared by FIFA, so it meant that you were wrong all along. So that issue has been there, and the club is saying that the 2023-2024 Bet Power Premier League will not kick off until this matter is resolved, James. We have a long legal dispute issue in our hands.
I mean, when we thought after the CAS verdicts, I mean, we've gone back to now, but I think this one now is like another chapter that we drag on. When it comes to Israel, in this part of the world, we tend to drag things, argument, counter, accusation, and this will continue to drag. And I mean, I think we experienced something like that last season too. When the league was on hold for some time. You remember, So I don't know. Sometimes you begin to imagine, is it that this club, when this one would now say, okay, according to what the law says, so is it that I don't know. I thought before every the beginning of every season, there's always this kind of orientation stuff, and I mean the laws are there that guides the league. But when you keep hearing things like this, I mean, imagine the club telling the football body that the league cannot start until this happens. This one say no, So at the end of the day, it's only going to put the league in bad light. The last season we celebrated the fact that sponsor came on board, but when you keep seeing things like this one is fighting this, dragging themselves to. I mean, you are going to drive away investors. Nobody's going to say things, dramas like this. I want to invest. You have talented players, but I mean, it's like the off-pitch incidents is overshadowing everything. It's killing everything.
Destroying the game.
Destroying it completely. I mean, we don't know how long this one will now last. So I mean, that's what I always go back to. When you don't have the right people who come out and say the way it is, you continue to experience things like this. It's going to affect sponsors will run. People who want to really invest. Nobody will want to come close to brand like this. So they only have themselves to blame. Players will continue to look for ways to leave the league, even though it's going to fourth division. Even in Europe, they don't mind. The most important thing is for them to make ends meet. So I just hope that they'll be able to come together to resolve this issue, because I'm telling you, Femi, is not something that you be proud of.
Okay. We heard that the GFA, of course, they are meant to appear in court within 8 days of this injunction, and also the fact that we have 21 days before the kickoff of the Bet Power Premier League for the new season. Hopefully, that before then, of course, things will have been resolved. But James, as that was happening, we have another issue being filed against the upcoming GFA presidential election. Of course, this one coming from Alhaji Grusa, the owner of King Faisal. James, of course, you're familiar with him. He was one of the persons who were accused of collecting the $100,000 for people who escorted, so to say, the Black Stars to the 2020 FIFA World Cup. Now, remember, I don't know if you remember that sometime during last season, particularly in game 30, on week 30 of the game, in their game against Tamale City, they filed an appeal. They filed a petition after they were relegated. King Faisal were relegated now to the second division in Ghana. But after they were relegated, they filed a case against Tamale City that Tamale City fielded an ineligible player against them in that particular encounter. So they made an appeal to a disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee tossed their appeal away. Now they've made the case again to appeals committee, and they've lost again. And now he has filed an injunction that the GFA presidential election scheduled to hold on September 27 should not happen until this matter is resolved. James, so much issues in Ghana happening right now in Ghana football.
It's tiring. Are they trying to push the football forward, or they're trying to make it stagnant? I mean, you just imagine what the players will be going through. I mean, something that's like what give them what put food on their table. I mean, people who call the shots, if their own issue is not solved.
But James, sorry, would you want to believe that King Fans actually have a case? That case wasn't filed until they got relegated. One, that is one. Two, it was first of all filed to the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee tossed their appeal. Now they went to an appeals committee, and appeal committee also tossed their appeal. Would you want to believe that they actually have a case?
Well, for the fact that twice now their case has been tossed away. Maybe, you know, in the law, there's always this thing about the law that everybody, they always want to make it a level playing field, you know, give everybody an opportunity, you know. So, but the fact that they keep tossing their case away, but they still keep pushing, you know, they don't want to make it feel as if they just
want to return to the Premier League. They just want to return.
You know, so I think what they do just accept their fate, and instead of all this effort they are putting into trying to win a case that looks dead. I mean, the most important thing is to just focus on the team and try to look for ways to get back to the elite division.
Exactly.
The way it's going, they're just making a ridicule of themselves.
Okay,
you know, you file the case twice, you throw it away, but you are still pushing and pushing, you know, with me, because you feel you can't do it on the field of play. It's another, you want to use another means to get back. So what happened now? So they think another team will now leave that spot for them, you know. So I think they should just get their acts together and think of how to get back, you know, to think of winning progression back to the league than going through all this stress and affecting other people because of their own selfish stuff.
Okay. Of course, after Inter Allies and Ashanti Gold, of course, approached CAS. I think King Faisal have also approached CAS on this matter, and they have said that they are going to fight until the last. Hopefully, we just hope that now that they've gone to the court in Ghana, we hope that the court will do the appropriate thing. James, yesterday, of course, we saw Mohamed Kudus score a hat-trick against Ludogorets to help to prepare Ajax to, of course, to the UEFA Europa, of course, league. Now, it was asked after the game about West Ham, and he said yes. He said it was my final game here at Ajax, but let's see what happens in the next day. Of course, it's been strongly linked with West Ham. As a matter of fact, we heard that the final details of that contract is being put together now. James, miss or yes to see Kudus in West Ham? Of course, he's going to be joining Thomas Partey in London. What do you think, quickly?
Yeah, I know some people want to see Ajax to West Ham in terms of who have achieved more. I think Ajax they have all the major achievements.
That's why I say it or miss.
Yeah, they are West Ham. They are European champions, Europa Conference League winners. So, and the good thing is that they are a Premier League team. So at least he's going to be playing in a very competitive, very strong league. You know, so he's joining the decent team. It might not be one of the biggest teams, you know, but a decent team. You know, we just defeated Chelsea. Remember what happened? It was one man down, defeated Chelsea. So I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to see him more. And he's going to test himself very well because he's one of the top talents. At the last World Cup, he did very well. So good one for him. I think for me, it's a hit.
Okay, sorry. At the beginning of the program, I said young African. No, I'm talking about president of TP Mazembe. I'm talking about Moise Katumbi. He's saying that he wants to run for the presidency of DRC. James he's made attempt before, but you know the way we do our things in Africa. Now he says he wants to run again. He said though he has friends who supported him, but his friends are currently in jail. But he's saying that he will wish to run again. He told Osaso Obayoana, a Nigerian journalist who works with the Guardian in the UK. Quickly, I'll read this quote, but perhaps on Monday we will deal extensively with this. He said, I'm going to go for the presidency of DRC again. He said, I lost some friends and associates, and some of them have been jailed because they're with me. But I'm not going to be afraid or live with fear because of that. I have my vision of what I want to do for the people of Congo. I am determined. So, James, on Monday, hopefully, we'll be able to talk about this politics and football. A lot of people have argued that TP Mazembe are not doing well at the moment because it seems they've lost that glory. But on Monday, hopefully, we'll be able to come around to talk about that. So for the Black Stars of Ghana, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully, on Monday, we hear, or during the weekend, we hear the news of when the camp will open for the game against Central African Republic. Ghana has to be at the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations. I saw a picture of the boundary between Ghana and Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. I've heard Kade talk about it, but I saw that picture. It's just like crossing a small path. I know a lot of our Ghanaian fans will be familiar with that. On Monday, I'm going to share that picture. And of course, we will talk about the preparation of the Black Stars and all the African countries who are yet to qualify for that tournament in Cote d'Ivoire next year. We'll be discussing them on Monday. James Agberibi, thank you for coming through on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi.
So hopefully, Kado will be able to join us next week on Monday. So we'll see you all. Have a fantastic weekend to yourself wherever you are around the world. Bye for now.